And then in here we have planted some buckwheat. We didn't have enough to sow it as thick as we'd like, but that's wonderful for the bees and for other pollinators. Over there next to the fence we have sunflowers, a row of sunflowers planted. That's another wonderful one. And this big holly right here, whenever it has its blooms, it's already, it's already got berries now, but when it has the blooms, we've noticed that the bees really like it, the pollinators. Okay, and we shouldn't forget our herbs. This is oregano. Oregano is, in my opinion, a really good one to have in your herb garden. The pollinators, that from what I've seen, tend to love it. And here we've got some garlic chives. That's another good one, in my opinion, for the bees. Well, my rosemary's only a tiny one, but I had really tall ones at one time, and I remember the bees getting on those blooms like crazy. Another good one, the hollyhock. It's not blooming now, but that's a good one for bees. Okay, and right here, you can see we've got a bee there, but that's just a carpenter bee. But we've got some catnip. That's another one that I recall the bees really love. And then this vine, which I can show you a better one, is a type of, I can't remember to save my life. Oh, clematis, yes. I can't remember the name of it though. And then we've got some poison oak next to it. But they love that clematis. A wonderful one for the bees is lavender. Now, I have not had luck with growing lavender through the winter. But here's some that I put out this year. Tried sowing the seeds, can't get them to come up. But I'm hoping this guy will bloom and do good and possibly make it through the winter. I don't know, we'll see. Then of course you got honeysuckles. Now this variety, this is a red one. Not sure if the honeybees are going to like it. I'm hoping they will. I know they love the other ones. And as far as trees or bushes, this is a mock orange. Now I know that the bees love the mock orange. That's one that we always have loads of pollinators on. It's not bloomed yet. It has got buds though, if I'm picking them up. Can't tell. But it's got them all over it. We have another one of the clementines here. We've got a visitor that I'm not liking too much seeing. I'm not sure if that's a yellow jacket or not, but they're bad to make nests in the ground here, really bad. We planted some Indian hawthorns this year especially for the bees. Now I did get these marked down. Here they are, and they are putting out. They are not dead, and so that's a good thing. So I've got to get those going really good, and I think the bees will love them. And the wild honeysuckle is growing wonderfully, making its little buds. The honeybees love honeysuckle. So do other pollinators. Now down here last year we had some like Joe Pye weed and some of the things like that. The wild, considered I guess wildflowers. I don't see them this year. I'm hoping they'll come up. I think they come up a little later. We had butterflies all over the stuff down here last year, but we planted some rattlesnake masters, some Joe Pye weeds, some milkweeds. We planted butterfly the flower. We planted barrage, which is an herb, and hyssop herb. We've planted loads of herbs and flowers for the bees and for our own use. I mean, the herbs I can use, I Planted the purple chives, which I used to have, and they died out on me. Trying to think what else. All kinds of herbs. I planted loads of herbs. And we've got these guys, I can't remember the name at all. It escapes me. My memory's not good due to health problems, but we have noticed pollinators like these. Another good one in my opinion is the Althea or Rose of Sharon. This is an Althea. Some people call them all Rose of Sharon. But when this thing blooms, it will be covered in all kinds of pollinators. And it's a big old plant, so it does quite a bit of good for them. Okay, another good one in my opinion are privets. These are starting to come out, and I know that looks dead, but it's not. They're very bendy. We got these on sale. We only give $1 for them, so they'd be very beneficial for the bees. And you can find lots of, you know, plants like that that's cheap. And we just planted them kind of as a little hedge right here. We've got a row of them right along here, and then we got our raspberry patch down there. And of course, daylilies. I've seen pollinators on daylilies. And then we've got this guy. That's what I mean by leaving weeds. Lots of your weeds will bloom. And I haven't seen any pollinators on him, but of course I haven't come down here and watched him to see. We've got them popped up everywhere though. The clematis really went wild right here. That's a good one that the bees love, like I said earlier. Got oregano growing around this rock bed. I have got to clean out a few things though. Large clump of daylilies, you know, we just leave them to themselves. They're wonderful for the pollinators. They seem to love them. Got some blackberries back in there blooming. Pollinators tend to like those. And plus you can get the berries off. We've got some mullein here. I'm pretty sure that the pollinators go on the mullein when it blooms. And mulleins are a really good herb. So that's one I like. Well, our fig hasn't put out yet. It usually puts out a little later, but once they put out and have their fruit, what fruit we don't collect, the bees love. Once it gets to that one stage, it'll bust, and they just absolutely go wild over it. Another wonderfully big clementine. That's one of the wild ones. The one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the white one. And then we've got here with it, we've got a wisteria. It's kind of took the wisteria, but they kind of grow together. And one that I shouldn't forget to mention is the butterfly bush. He's not blooming. He hasn't been set here long, so he's a little bit stressed, but that's really good for pollinators.